I feel you all around me. I know you must be here. Your beauty still surrounds me. Your voice is in my ears. I see you in the ocean. You're dancing on the shore. The sunset on the water makes your spirit soar. And your laughter lifts me up along the way. There's so many things I still have left to say. If I only had the words to tell you half the things I feel, you'd have understood so clearly that my love for you was real. And I wish I'd had the courage to open up my heart. You'd have known that we could never be apart.
So, Ryan Tovim, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm Eugene Korn, the uncle of Rachel Simon, and I'm the MC for this short but very wonderful program. I'd like to thank all of you for coming to the dedication of the theater, which is so important and so dear to Hillel as well as the Simon family. The theater that you see is really the culmination of a 4-year project that only came to being because so many people from so many different quarters and walks of life pitched in and made it a reality. And of course, the theater is somewhat bittersweet for the family as we remember Rachel, who died tragically at such a young age. But this is a happy occasion, it's not a sad occasion. Rachel brought joy and happiness to the world through her art and song and performance, much of which occurred here at Beit Hillel 22 years ago. And we know that the Rachel Simon Hillel Theater will bring joy to students and to Israelis of all walks of life. And in doing so, will give eternal life to Rachel's name and spirit.
Thank you all for being here. I'm going to light this candle in memory of Rachel and on behalf of everyone whose lives that she touched. Please join me in this responsive reading. In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we will remember Rachel.
In the blowing of the wind, chill of winter, we will remember her.
In the opening of buds and in the rebirth of spring, we will remember her.
In the blue of the sky, warm summer, we will remember her.
In the rustling of leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we will remember her.
In the beginning of the year, when it ends, we will remember her.
When we are weary and in need of strength, we will remember her.
When no one else is in our heart, we will remember her.
When we have joys we yearn to share, we will remember her. As we live, she too shall live, for she is now a part of us, as we remember Rachel.
I first encountered this project when the match from heaven, as Mary says, between the Simon family and Hillel Israel already occurred. When much needed renovation of this 1974 Hillel Theater met with years-long search of the Simon family for a project that will properly commemorate their beloved Rachel. Rabbi Yossi Goldman, the founding director of Hillel Israel, had the wisdom of involving the Meyerhoff family charitable funds, and once Rafi Ron, the miracle maker as I call him, of Meyerhoff got into this picture, he came up with a brilliant idea of creating the match. It was literally my first day in the office, back in the summer of 2012, when Yossi introduced me to Murray and Toby Simon, and it was with them that I first set foot in this auditorium. Running a construction project is secular by nature. Bids, contractors, disputes over money, disputes over quality of work, disputes over deadlines. Yet for me, the holiness of this project stood out from day one. From the first trembling handshake with two parents who lost a daughter. Getting to know you, Toby, Murray, and Rebecca. Getting to familiarize myself with Rachel's story, with her pictures, her clips, her art. Transformed the complicated task of managing the renovations project into an honorary mission of celebrating Rachel's life. Toby, Murray, Rebecca, you have given us a multi-purpose theater with the most advanced systems for academic conferences, conventions, lecture events, theater productions, and film screenings. This theater will forever commemorate Rachel, but not by actually being here, but by operating, by living, entertaining. This is not a monument. This is a living memory of Rachel Simon, Zichrona Livracha.
It's a pleasure to call on Avram Infeld, Chairman of the Board of Directors of Hillel. Avram and I are actually old friends. We go back a long time in Jewish educational circles, and it's a pleasure to be with you here today in this context, Avram.
Hillel is, among other things, committed to producing and training leadership for the future of the Jewish people. And when you look at the issue of leadership and you want to see a model of leadership, after all, the purpose of leadership is to move people. And I look at Jewish texts and say, where can I find somebody who wants to move Jews, and how do they do it? And the obvious story that comes to mind is the story of this character in the Bible, his name is God, who wanted to move Jews out of Egypt and into Israel. And one of the most interesting factors in this is that God did not create a single leader who could do the entire job himself. Moses, his brother Aaron, his sister Miriam, and his successor Joshua. Without one of them, it could not have taken place. But I'm reminded today in particular of Miriam. But what does she do? She sings and dances. She makes people move their feet. She touches the heart. She touches the guts. She brings passion to the world of leadership. And therefore Hillel, using the arts, using the singing and the dancing, touching the soul, is a very, very important part. And we at Hillel are extremely grateful for those who have made it possible for us to renovate this theatre, a place in which Michael and others will be able to ensure that a lot of song, a lot of music, a lot of drama, and a lot of passion affects the entire Hillel movement. So I want to thank you all for your contribution. I want to thank, of course, the Simon and Korn families, the parents, Murray and Toby, the sister Rebecca, Eugene and Lila, and Eugene mentioned that we go back a long time. The Meyerhoff Foundation. I have to tell you, I've been in the business of saying thank you to the Meyerhoff Foundation for 46 years. I can't think of a single endeavor that I've personally been involved in which the Meyerhoff Foundation was not a part. I've known Joe, who is here for many, many years. I first met him when he was 10 years old. And I can think of no family that has been more generous, and made a greater impact on the life of Jews in Israel than has that family. I want to thank Yad Nadiv. Yad Nadiv is not a foundation that normally gives money to rather small projects. They built, they're now building the new library, National Library. They built the Knesset. They built the Supreme Court. But they saw fit to be part of this because they understood, and I'm glad that there were those who managed to involve them. The Leichtag Foundation. But in particular, the many, many friends and family members who gave donations beginning at $18 and going up in order to be a part of making this possible. I want to thank them all, and I want to assure them on the part of Hillel that none of them could ever have made a better investment. Thank you all.
There's a story in the Babylonian Talmud that really captures the essence of tonight. There's a story that's told in Masechet Ta'anit where there's Rabbi Baroka is walking in the shuk. Maybe it was Machane Yehuda, I don't know. And he's looking at the merchants and the peddlers there, and he encounters Eliyahu Hanavi. Eliyahu Hanavi is this figure in Jewish literature that somehow has the inside dope on how heaven works. So Rabbi Baroka asks Eliyahu Hanavi, is there anyone here in the shuk who merits eternal life? And Eliyahu Hanavi says yes. He says, you see that Baduki? Baduki is a jester or an entertainer. He says that entertainer merits eternal life because he makes people happy. He brings joy and happiness to the lives of people.
I'm reviewing the situation. Can a villain be a villain all his life? All the trials and tribulations. Better settle down and get myself a wife. And what would cook and sew for me and come for me and go for me and go for me and agony? The fingers she will wag at me, the money she will take from me, a misery she make of me. I think I better think it out again.
On my own, pretending he's beside me. Alone, I walk with him till morning. Without him, I feel his arms around me. And when I lose my way, I close my
that they're students and not professionals. It was really wonderful. So it's a very great pleasure to ask Yossi to say a few words to us. Yossi is the Associate Vice President of Hillel International.
My own association with the Meyerhoff family began in 1985 when I was appointed as director of Hillel at the Hebrew University. I remember approaching Harvey Bud Meyerhoff, Joseph's son, to turn this particular room into a multi-purpose auditorium. You see, this room was not like this. It was a lecture hall. There were chairs fixed to the floor with long tables in front of them. It was a lecture hall. It was not a place to have theater or to have concerts, etc. And so 25 years have passed since this particular auditorium was refurbished. And it fell into ill repair. And we turned to the Meyerhoffs once again. And this time it was Rafi Ron. Now Rafi Ron and I go back to a time in 1992 when Rafi was a student here at Hebrew University. When Rafi was an active student in Hillel. And together with Rachel Simon and together with their peers, they were in charge, they were what we called Hillel scholars at the time. And they were in charge of programming for Hillel Jerusalem. And here is Rafi Ron, the executive director of the Meyerhoff Family Funds. And one day he said to me, Yossi, I have an idea. And he told me the story of Rachel Simon. Let me try that, he said. And he did. And he succeeded. Together with the Simon family, the generosity of the Simon family and their friends, we succeeded in developing and gathering the necessary funds to open and build and refurbish this wonderful hall, this wonderful auditorium. And so we say, may this particular auditorium, this place, always be a source of joy and meaning and education and learning for the students at Hebrew University and beyond. And תהא נשמתה של Rachel Simon צרורה בצרור החיים. May her soul be bound up in the bonds of eternal life. Here, in Hebrew University, she will be remembered. Here at Hillel, here in Ir HaKodesh, Yerushalayim. Amen.
It's a pleasure to ask Rafi to address us. I got to know Rafi on the other side of the ocean in America, and Rafi was the one who really shepherded the project in America all through these almost 4 years. Rafi.
I've known Rachel since we were 11 years old. We went to Camp Ramah together. You've heard from, you get an idea of what her talent was when her musical talents and gifts were numerous and many from her family, but from a peer and a friend, I can tell you she was always the prettiest girl in camp. She was just the one who never knew it, which made her even prettier. She was gifted, she was fun, she loved to laugh. She traveled through Greece and Turkey together our junior year and pretty much spent most of the time just laughing and making memories we would share for many years afterwards. And I would say that something that's so incredible for me is to see the talented students here. Thank you for bringing her alive in you. And as someone who's here 23 years ago and left 22 years ago as a student, this is all about you and all about your peers. And you have to live for the moment and live for the day because you never know. what could be and what comes next. So enjoy every moment as clearly you do. So I just want to thank not just the Meyerhoff family, Yad and Adiv, the incredible Hillel staff, but this was a labor of love, as you can tell. $36 checks came in. Every foundation I went to, when they would say, you know, we can't help you, their professional would write a check themselves. So picture, you know, over $150,000 in $54 increments, and you can get an idea of the labor that went into it. I just feel incredibly blessed to have been a part of it. So to the Simon family, we did it. Rachel will be here and will continue to be here. And our friends from our year, they wish they were here. And I've heard from many on Facebook and emails sending so much love, and they're all looking forward to coming to visit the theater here. So I look forward to many, many more performances here, where, by the way, I saw a video of Rachel that one of our Majochim, our counselors, put together. She was in a band, loosely call it a band. And it was a video of all of us here 22 years ago in June, literally in June 22 years ago, and they were singing U2's I Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For. Well, I feel like tonight and this evening we've found what we're looking for, and I'm so glad that this could come to fruition. Thank you.
In December 1991, when Murray and I came to Israel to visit Rachel as a student here at HU, she met us at the airport in the traditional Israeli style, carrying a beautiful bouquet of flowers and a radiant smile from ear to ear. I know that smile was partly because she was happy to see us, but her joy of being in Israel was also a major part of that infectious smile. We took a route to our hotel very near this campus, unpacked quickly, and then came directly to this very Beit Hillel. Again, that brilliant smile of hers conveyed to us how happy she was to bring us here for Shabbat dinner and to meet her new classmates. Fast forward to this past Monday, when our family visited this new and beautiful theater for the very first time. I couldn't help but be overwhelmed when I saw Rachel's beautiful smile again as we entered the lobby. It reminded me of that incredible day some 20 years ago at the airport with Rachel. And now today we're here to honor her precious memory and to nourish ourselves from the fountain of reflection. 15 years after her death, it is still hard to believe that after all of the struggles and hope, Rachel is no longer physically with us. But let me assure you, her spirit remains stronger than ever. Rachel's character was truly the legacy she left behind. Our daughter Rachel was much like the matriarch Rachel, a woman of pervasive beauty and boundless spirit who passed away at too early an age. Rachel, along with her sister Rebecca, became a shining example of what every parent hopes and wishes their children will become. Loving and compassionate, honest and highly principled, determined and independent, creative and a beautiful neshama. Rachel set the highest of standards for herself, a trait that was admired by all, and at the same time, a challenge to herself. She had so many gifts, but sadly, not the gift of time. Rachel was the definition of grace under life's greatest pressures. She responded with dignity and resilience, always maintaining a reservoir of genuine love and appreciation for those around her. To dear Rafi Rohn, a true malach shel ahava, an angel of love and a devoted friend always to Rachel. Your relationship blossomed and strengthened during life's changing experiences. Camp Ramah, USY on Wheels, and of course, Hebrew University. Rafi, please know that the Simon family will always be indebted to you for presenting us with this amazing project. There couldn't have been a more perfect way to honor Rachel's memory and her spirit. Our family had been searching for years to find a meaningful and appropriate way to honor what was the core of her being. And this was definitely it. I know Rachel has that same smile on her face as we gather today in the Rachel Simon Hillel Theater. It now offers both Israeli and international students a magnificent state-of-the-art venue. It is both fitting and comforting to know that Rachel performed in the same space over 20 years ago, as the arts defined who she was and her life's passion. Rachel's junior year abroad at HU was definitely a life-changing encounter. She loved the experiences of living and studying in Israel and cherished the year with old and new friends. She left the States with a strong sense of Jewish identity, but she came back with an even greater one. When she returned, Rachel changed her major at UMass from music to Judaic studies and began taking on leadership roles at UMass Hillel. She founded the UMass Student Alliance for Israel and encouraged students to attend the Rothberg Overseas program here at HU. Rachel, with all her humility, would never believe what's transpired over the last few years. From the seed planted by Rafi's idea to Hillel's beautiful execution of our family's vision, we stand today in this magnificent theater here on Har HaTzofim. As an artist, she would feel immense fulfillment that her work not only hangs in a public place, but one that she frequently visited and loved. As a friend, she would be grateful that so many in her life joined together from literally all over the world to create and support the Rachel Simon Project. The abundance of generosity and support from her dear family and friends, and those she didn't even know, reaffirms the timeless Jewish values of tzedakah and tikkun olam. We are forever indebted to both Hillel and Hillel International, as well as the Meyerhoff Family Foundation, for making this dream project become a reality. It certainly has helped our family channel the deep pain of her loss into a lasting and positive creation of something outstanding and beautiful for others. Como Rachel, like Rachel was.
And people come to this building and they know the name of Hillel and the meaning of the name of Hillel, and they ask, who's this Rachel? And that's the real dialogues that they are going to maintain for many other years. Because curiosity comes and they will have faith. But the very place, the name, simply in one way, meaningful to you, but it's going to be meaningful to the others who are going to ask, but who is this Rachel? Rachel Simon. And the answer will go back to the biography. Very short. Too much of a short biography. But what you were gathered around to create long-term memory. I cannot say eternal, even if Jerusalem is an eternal city. What you did was engraving the name for future generations whose life are connected to the best of the leisure at Hebrew University. The quality of the people who come to this place. The excitement of events that will be taking place in this place leaves no space for imagination, because we know exactly what's going to take place. So I thank you for that, and that's the reason that I was able to come and to say these few words.
Thank you again, Professor Ben Sasson. Now I'd like to ask Toby and Murray to formally present the theater to the Hillel staff, to Cheli, to Yosef, and to representatives of the Hebrew University student body.
We are proud to present this Rachel Simon Theater to you. And we know that it will be a place of creativity, a place that will be alive with wonderful music and with art academic pursuits, and we know that in so doing, Rachel's memory will be honored. So we are going to symbolically cut this ribbon to officially dedicate this auditorium and this theater.
We have enormous gratitude to the funders of this project, but money alone doesn't produce the project. It was really Yossi Epstein who made it happen more than anybody else. He was here, Yom V'Layla, day and night, making sure that the workers completed their tasks on time with the highest quality, making sure that we stayed within budget. Well, almost Yossi. And it was really Yossi who was the glue who made it happen. So on behalf of the Simon family, I'd like to present Yossi with a personal gift as a token of our deep appreciation. The family thought long and hard about what would best express Yossi's character and our appreciation for Yossi and what Yossi would appreciate. So we lovingly give him this token of our appreciation, which is a quote from Pirkei Avot, from the Ethics of the Fathers, that says, Al shloshet devarim ha'olam omed, on three things the world stands. Al Torah, on learning, al avodah, on service, v'al gemilut chasadim, and acts of loving kindness. Thank you so much, Yossi.
whose radiance shines upon the earth.